What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated rising Mexican superstar title contender, King Ryan Garcia, 21 wins, no loss and no draw, 18 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'10", with a 70-inch arm reach. Ryan Garcia, he will be going into a showdown with Emmanuel Tagu, who is 32 wins, 1 loss, no draws. He is 33 years of age. He stands at 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. With that said, Ryan Garcia will be making his ring return after over a year layoff, okay? So Ryan Garcia has been in the headlines as of late. The last time Ryan Garcia fought was January of 2021. We're February of 2022. He hasn't fought in over a year, and that was against Olympic gold medalist, British superstar title contender, Luke Campbell, okay? So with that said, Ryan Garcia's mentor, big brother, 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's the undisputed super middleweight world champion. Some may consider him the face of the sport of boxing. Canelo Alvarez has some very interesting things to say about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia not being committed to the boxing gym, not being committed to the sport of boxing, and is wasting his talent. That was some weeks ago, okay? And then Ryan Garcia, upon making his announcement that he was making his ring return, Ryan Garcia, he announced that he was parting ways with longtime trainer, 2-time well-renowned trainer of the year, EDDY REYNOSO, who's been training him since 2018 for going on 4 years, okay? Who is obviously also Canelo Alvarez's trainer. And when he parted ways, that rose a lot of question rose from that. And Ryan Garcia was asked, why did he part ways? And his response was that EDDY REYNOSO simply just doesn't have enough time for Ryan Garcia, okay? He has too many fighters in his stable and just doesn't make the time. So Canelo Alvarez, upon announcing his fight coming up May 7th against undefeated WBA light heavyweight world champion Russian star boxer Dmitry Bivol, that's scheduled to take place Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 7th. Obviously, he's having to build up. Press conferences on the way, and Canelo Alvarez is in the public eye, right, to build his fight. And so Canelo Alvarez, he was asked about this, and Canelo Alvarez, he went in on Ryan Garcia, in which Canelo Alvarez, he stated that it's just a lack of commitment. It's not that Eddie don't have the time. It's that Ryan Garcia, he tells EDDY REYNOSO he's coming at 12 o'clock. He don't show up to 2 o'clock. When he gets here, he only wants to be here for 20 minutes. And then he wants to leave, or he tells Eddie he's coming and he just never shows up at all. Well, we all know Canelo Alvarez himself is a gym rat. Canelo Alvarez is committed to the sport of boxing. He's committed to the lifestyle. He lives the fighter's lifestyle. He wants to be great. His star power came from his accomplishments within the sport of boxing, not his star power and drawing power outside the ring. He let what took place in the sport of boxing build his star power. Ryan Garcia is known to be a Instagram social media mogul, opposed to being a boxer. More people know him for that than they do for him boxing, okay? With that said, that didn't sit right. Those comments didn't sit right with Ryan Garcia, and he responded. And now he can't stop responding, okay? Initially, he responded. He stated Canelo Alvarez don't know the facts. He don't know what's going on. He stated that in the first training camp and the first fight he had with EDDY REYNOSO, everything went smooth and went perfect. EDDY REYNOSO was all hands on deck. He stated that after time went by, that started to fade. He started to show up 2 weeks before the fight. He just wasn't as committed. He was focused on Canelo Alvarez. And this goes to, and then he states that that's the reason why undefeated rising Mexican superstar welterweight title contender Vergil Ortiz Jr., 18 wins, no loss and no draw, 18 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. The reason that Vergil Ortiz Jr. didn't commit to signing with EDDY REYNOSO is because nobody wants to live in Canelo Alvarez's shadow, right? And EDDY REYNOSO is going to obviously focus all his attention on Canelo Alvarez, and whatever he have left over, it'll go to you, okay? And that's interesting because we saw Vergil Ortiz Sr., he uttered the same sentiments, but he didn't want to get deep into it, right? He stated that, Vergil Ortiz Sr., he stated that you know, they just didn't want to live in the shadow of Canelo Alvarez. They wanted to build their own legacy and their own name and their own brand and be the first Virgil Ortiz, not another Canelo Alvarez. There can only be one Canelo Alvarez. This is what Virgil Ortiz Sr. had to say, okay? And explaining why they didn't commit to training with Eddie Reynoso, right? He said it's a good gym, but they don't want to live in the shadow of Canelo Alvarez, right? And so now Ryan Garcia is exposing and saying Virgil Ortiz didn't commit, and he's close friends with Virgil Ortiz because of the shadow of Canelo Alvarez. And then Ryan Garcia, initially he states, let's stop going back and forth, but he couldn't help himself. And he said, you brought up Frank Sanchez, but ask Frank Sanchez. Frank Sanchez, if you don't know, is an undefeated Cuban heavyweight star boxer and title contender. He said, you brought up Frank Sanchez because Canelo Alvarez in an interview, he said, you could ask Frank Sanchez. You can ask Oscar Valdez, who is a undefeated 2-division world champion going into a massive unification bout April 30th with fellow super featherweight world champion superstar boxer Shakur Stevenson. He said you could ask Canelo Alvarez, said you can ask Oscar Valdez, he'll vouch. You can ask Frank Sanchez, he'll vouch. And you can ask, you know, he was going down the list. And then he threw former unified heavyweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Andy Ruiz under the bus. Said Andy Ruiz does the same things that Ryan Garcia does, okay? He's not committed, okay? So with that said, Ryan Garcia says, you brought up Frank Sanchez, now ask Frank Sanchez about Eddie Reynoso showing up 2 weeks before his fight, okay? He said, you want to bring up all these fighters and you want to, without telling the truth, you're not telling the truth, okay? So he said, what the truth is, Eddie Reynoso's sole focus and purpose is Canelo Alvarez, and whatever he have left over, he'll give it to another fighter. And then he drops the mic and says, and let's stop going back and forth because it's not necessary. Just go do your due diligence, do your homework, and find out the truth. Wow. So Ryan Garcia goes in on Canelo Alvarez, saying that Canelo Alvarez isn't telling the truth. And I believe Ryan Garcia, right, to a degree. And I'm going to explain why. When you're a trainer of that magnitude and you have a fighter of the magnitude of Canelo Alvarez, he's going to take precedence over everybody, okay? He's known, and his status comes from the success of Canelo Alvarez. Now, he's been in the game. He and his father has been in the game in the sport of boxing for a long time, okay? I'm sure they're successful trainers. They're knowledgeable of the game. But at the end of the day, they are known and recognizable because of the success of Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so obviously that's where all their attention is going to go to first. And seeing as though Canelo Alvarez lives in the gym, right? He's never not around. How often is Canelo Alvarez not around, okay? What's ironic here is that Canelo Alvarez always shows support to Ryan Garcia. And, we always knew when there was smoke, there was an issue, okay? When Canelo Alvarez first made those comments, we knew when he fought Caleb Plant, we already understood that there was an issue going on there, okay? And so, but on the flip side of that, you can tell that Ryan Garcia, with his journey, the way it's been playing out thus far, that he's not committed. He's not fully committed to the sport of boxing, okay? He's more committed to his brand and to his social media following and his star power, okay, and his celebrity, more so than being a boxer, okay? But again, I understand what Ryan Garcia is saying, because when you have multiple people saying the same things, okay, like Virgil Ortiz Sr. Virgil Ortiz Sr., he said this a week ago before this even came out, before Ryan Garcia had announced that he was parting ways with Eddie Reynoso. It came out from Virgil Ortiz Sr. stating that this was an issue and it wasn't for them. That's the reason why they decided to go with Manny Robles opposed to going with Eddie Reynoso, okay? And so you can even see, again, in the training footage of these other fighters, Canelo Alvarez is always in the picture. You understand? Which is great, right? Because you want his knowledge. Canelo Alvarez is a gym rat. He's always in the gym. He's attached to the gym. So you want his knowledge. You want his his expertise. You want his presence. Okay, you want him to help you. It's good Eddie Reynoso give you tips in how to do things outside the ring, but Canelo Alvarez is physically inside the ring. Like Floyd Mayweather always say, I want a trainer that's been in there and been on the outside as well. So Canelo Alvarez is in there at a successful high level, and he could give you tips on things that Eddie Reynoso may not understand. So it's good to have him around, but of course, his star status and his power is going to overshadow everybody else. So Ryan Garcia, he says that you brought up all these fighters and to vouch for you, but ask them the truth and ask them to tell you the absolute truth about what's really going on in the gym. Wow. So Ryan Garcia has a fight coming up March 9th against Emmanuel Tagu. Canelo Alvarez has a fight coming up May 7th. So we got to see how those play out and unfold. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.